I was also reading Ad Age and Ad Week magazines, realizing there's a missing area, that there's no coverage of Utah. So the first thing I did was become a stringer for both of those publications. That got me started in being the person who's responsible to collect and cover all of the news about the advertising and marketing industry in Utah, feeding it to a national source. It was more of this style. And we put this out every 2 weeks. And I thought, if you blend the editorial with the advertising, then people will pick it up, have a reason to pick it up, and look at it, and the resources within there might have them hold on to the magazine a little bit longer. In 1983, I bought out my partner. Any of those things that you might already know when you start a business, I didn't know. And so it was kind of a duck or bleed moment. I only had a weekend to decide whether I was going to buy the magazine or not. Can I make it go? Financially, does it make any sense? I realized at that point in time that I would make it make sense. So at that point in time, I made it 4-color. I'll show you the very first color. So that's a contrast from where we were before. AdNews allows a conversation between a company like an ad agency and the person who would hire the services of an ad agency to talk shop. It wasn't just blurbs of news stories, but it was more the features, where I wanted to get in and ask the deep and big questions of people. I was very young, I was in my early 20s, and my partner had been a man who was a little bit more well established in the community and in that industry. The biggest question everybody always asked me is, how do you think you can do this being a woman in Utah and being so young? But I never really took to heart that I should take a step back and not behave as though success could be mine if I tried hard enough. It's very, very hard work. You build yourself within a community, and you don't want to disappoint, but you also have the challenge of just staying on the top edge of what's happening creatively, what's happening graphically, what's happening in the industry. The name itself went all over the place. Utah Advertising News, UTAD News, when it was primarily a Utah. Then it went to AdNews when I expanded regionally. In the mid-2005, 6, 7, or 8 was a tough time for AdNews magazine, where I had sold it, turned it over, took it back, sold it again, turned it over, took it back, and took back basically on the second time kind of a little bit of AdNews in distress. There was some CPR that was required and really difficult financial times as well. But now things have resolved. So through all of that, I fell completely back in love with AdNews. People say, oh, look you've been at this for so long, what a success story. And it is a success story. But there's no margin in braving those tough times, and it's just a matter of survival. I started out with 2 times a month with the black and white edition and about 5,000 circulation, and then went monthly, and then went every other month, meanwhile building an online presence. So the type of news that's very, very timely in terms of people being hired, productions being done, updates on company management and things like that, that is more well served in a digital arena because you can keep it really fresh and keep it revolving all of the time. Meanwhile, making the print edition, where we've got beautiful portraiture, a little bit more in depth on the feature side. Well, Pax Natura Foundation is something that's very close to my heart. Pax Natura goes all the way to our existence, peace with nature, our planet. It's before us, it's us, and it's after us. It's not generational. It's not even about humans. It just takes absolutely everything into consideration. Well, Lee Vonderesh made such a huge difference to our community, again, painting our community as world-class talent, world-class locations.
AdNews, entrepreneurial. Her finger on the pulse of what's happening in media and the motion picture industry. For that, we're grateful, those of us who've worked in the Film Commission, and I continue to work with those folks. Her ability to bring forth a publication that would highlight that's been remarkable and very much needed in the state.
So watching her accomplish what she has always gave me inspiration to be able to do the same.
The thing that's great about Susan as an entrepreneur is the business that she set up and how she runs AdNews. The highlight is on the Utah people. And she is always showcasing the talent of the Utah people.
Verite was one of the first companies, and female-owned, that broke into web development and the interactive world.
Her relations with people, I think, are really what keep AdNews at the forefront. You know, she knows a lot of people around town, and we've gone to Susan before when we were looking for, you know, a specific resource or a specific kind of company in Utah, and she's always been able to help us find that. So I think that's really where her strength lies.
What we're partnering on right now is a newsletter, an electronic newsletter that goes out via email. It really is the perfect augmentation to a print edition. I would like AdNews to be an inspiration for people to feel like no matter what happens, there's a place for me in this world, and I can make it work. Don't give up. Find out what drives you and be honorable to that, and then you will always have the energy and the inspiration to wake up in the morning, start another day, and find a way to enjoy it and be profitable.